Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now the F1 summer break is upon us once again, and that usually means silly season is set to kick into gear and things are about to get interesting off track. However, although not quite as flat as 2024 was, this year's silly season looks set to be a bit of a quiet one, I suppose an unsilly season, with much of the grid tied down for 2026 and the start of the new regulations. So to kick off this break, I thought I'd run through all the drivers confirmed for next year, a state of play if you like, and as the driver market isn't expected to be as busy as the last season, I guess this is kind of my driver lineup predictions replacement thing. Don't worry though, if you love speculation, plenty to come over the next couple of weeks if you're watching this as it goes out. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it, starting with the biggest story of recent weeks: what is happening at Mercedes? Now, based on what was said in Hungary and on and off through the year, to be fair, this is expected to be a case of crossing the T's and dotting the I's, with George Russell and Kimi Antonelli highly likely to remain as the Mercedes driver lineup next season. There has yet to be a proper official announcement as such, but Toto Wolff did say in Budapest that Russell was definitely staying, and George said himself that it was a case of when, not if. That, of course, follows Max Verstappen, who had been linked with a move to the Silver Arrows, saying he would remain with Red Bull for 2026. Of course, until it is officially official, you never know, but yeah, Russell and Antonelli almost certainly will be staying where they are. By the way, I'm recording this the day after the Hungarian Grand Prix, so this may have been confirmed by the time this video goes out, so please do bear that in mind, although Russell did tell the media on Sunday that nothing was due to be announced, but you know what F1 is like. The next on this list is Red Bull and who will partner Max Verstappen next season, something I will cover in more detail and incredibly somehow with more waffle in another video next week. Yuki Tsunoda had a better qualifying in Hungary in that he was closer to Verstappen than he has been all year, although I'm still not sure how much of that was down to Yuki having a good weekend and how much was down to Max having a bad weekend. Maybe we'll never know, but that and the update he was given in Spa has certainly represented an apparent step forward. Tsunoda is known to be out of contract at Red Bull at the end of the season, and the team has been keen to let it be known that he is in that seat until the end of the year. Beyond that, though, who knows? But don't expect an answer about the second Red Bull seat anytime soon, famous last words. But there are contenders to take on the monumental task of being Max Verstappen's teammate, with Isack Hadjar waiting for the call-up and possibly next in line. And in form, Liam Lawson can't be completely discounted either, with Helmut Marko saying that everything is open at the moment and they are looking at both positive and negative performances, with an evaluation set to take place, as is tradition at Red Bull, after the summer break, although we may well not hear anything until the end of the season. The sister team also needs confirmation on who will be driving their next season, with the current drivers, Hadjar and Lawson, naturally in the frame for one or both of those seats, depending on what happens with Tsunoda, and Arvid Lindblad waiting in the F2 wings for a potential promotion. The youngster believed to be in the running for a step up to Formula 1 for 2026. More on all of that, though, as I say, next week. I needed more time to waffle through that. Alpine is another team with a big question mark hanging over its second seat. Pierre Gasly is already under contract at Alpine for the 2026 season, but while PlanetF1.com understands Franco Colapinto appears set to remain at the team for the rest of the 2025 campaign, no decision has yet been taken over his place on the grid for 2026. Colapinto, of course, has yet to score any points since replacing Jack Doohan, but has been focused on trying to reduce the gap to Gasly as he tries to get up to speed in that car. Now, Valtteri Bottas has been linked with a return to F1 for next season, either with Alpine or the incoming Cadillac outfit. More on that in a moment. With both Bottas and Toto Wolff hinting that talks did take place with the Enstone team, but it must be said, those rumours have gone pretty quiet lately. Paul Aron, one of the current Alpine reserve drivers, is also looking to stake his claim to step up to Formula 1, actually telling PlanetF1.com in July that his simple goal is to join the grid next season. This is another driver transfer saga, much like Red Bull, that will likely rumble on towards the back end of the season, if not the absolute end of it. And I have to say, I have no idea who is going to end up there. Maybe Colapinto stays if he can find form. It could be Aaron. It might be Bottas if the Cadillac stuff is all nonsense. It's difficult to call on that one because the team is a little bit all over the place it is, so the drivers are kind of the least of their problems at the moment, or it feels that way anyway. Unless something absolutely insane happens between now and the start of the 2026 campaign, the remainder of the current teams on the grid will stay as they are. So to confirm, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll are set to stay on at Aston Martin. Charles Leclerc is tied down to Ferrari, and despite all the rumours flying around, Lewis Hamilton will more than likely stay on and honour his contract with the team for 26 despite a difficult season. Haas will be sticking with Esteban Ocon and Ollie Bearman, the two of them on multi-year deals. It'll come as no surprise to hear that even if they weren't under contract, there is little reason for change at McLaren, but both Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris are tied down and so will stay put. Sauber have Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto signed up for next season too, the team of course becoming Audi. And given their recent run of form, there is little reason to believe the team isn't happy with the current lineup. Bortoleto rapidly dragging himself into contention for Rookie of the Year if he carries on like he is. And Williams again have both Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz tied down for 2026. And hopefully, with a car that he will have had some inputs in, Sainz will be able to find better, more consistent form. I still think that's a very good driver pairing for the future. I will just say as well that although those teams have lineups confirmed and contracted for next season, it doesn't mean things can't change. But as I said at the start of this part, something pretty wild would have to happen, but never say never. And finally, it's the new kids on the block for 2026, the 11th team, and that is Cadillac. Now, Elizabeth has covered this lineup a couple of times this season as she picked her dream lineup and ranked the likelihood of each linked driver's chances of getting a seat. But team principal Graham Loudon has stated on multiple occasions about the list of drivers to have spoken to the team being quite long, and that's even without all the names being thrown out there by us fans. I'm sorry, guys, Mika Häkkinen is not returning. It is understood that the team has been in discussions with the likes of Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, Mick Schumacher, Sergio Perez, Jack Crawford, and others as it seeks to establish its first lineup in Formula One. It is also worth keeping an eye on McLaren Jr. Alex Dunn too. He might be a bit of a wild card pick, but he is enjoying a good first season in F2 and is understood to be exploring avenues for a step up to F1 for next season. I have answered this on live streams, but never in a video as far as I know. But who would I pick if I was in charge at Cadillac? I'd go with Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. The team is brand new and is therefore being built from the ground up. So for me, it feels hugely important, especially in that first season, to have as much experience as possible to help develop the car and to help settle the team into the sport. Plus, having two very experienced drivers at the helm means they will need less coaching than, say, a young junior driver, and so the focus can pretty much be solely on improving the car. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they decide to do. There we have it then. That is the state of play right now. But let me know down in the comments section which drivers you'd pick for Cadillac, what you'd do with the second Alpine seat, and do you expect any surprises between now and the end of the season? That is it for this one though, but I will be back with another video soon. And if you enjoyed this one, then please do leave a like and consider subscribing too so you don't miss any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.